The restaurant fell silent the moment the billionaire leaned back in his chair with a smug smile. Every eye at the table watched as he deliberately switched to a rare foreign language, convinced the young waitress standing before him wouldn't understand a single word. His wealthy friends chuckled quietly, expecting another humiliating moment for someone they believed was beneath them. But what happened next would stop every laugh, freeze every fork in midair, and leave one of the richest men in the city unable to say a single word. Before we begin, if you believe kindness is stronger than pride and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in compassion, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more heart-touching stories. And don't forget to tell us in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to know where our amazing community is joining us from. Every evening, Marin Whitlock tied her apron with the same quiet determination. She worked at Belmont House, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, where celebrities, executives, and billionaires gathered beneath crystal chandeliers while soft piano music floated through the elegant dining room. Few guests noticed the woman serving their meals. To most of them, she was simply another waitress. What they never saw was the burden she carried long before she stepped through those polished glass doors. Each morning began with helping her elderly grandmother, who was slowly losing her eyesight. Medical bills piled higher every month, and Marin often skipped meals so there would be enough money for prescriptions. She had once dreamed of becoming a professor of languages, earning scholarships through years of relentless study. Fluent in 6 languages, she had traveled abroad as an exchange student before family tragedy forced her home. When her parents died unexpectedly, every dream she had carefully built was replaced by responsibility. Education could wait. Survival could not. That evening, the restaurant manager whispered nervously that an important client had arrived. His name was Alastair Rowan, a technology billionaire famous for his fortune, impossible standards, and complete lack of patience. Staff members knew his reputation well. Several had left the restaurant after being publicly embarrassed by him. Nobody wanted to serve his table, but Marin simply smiled and carried the menus with calm professionalism. The expensive suits around the table barely acknowledged her presence. Alastair scanned the menu for only a few seconds before exchanging amused glances with his guests. Then, with deliberate confidence, he began speaking in flawless Hungarian, believing none of the staff could possibly understand him. His words weren't about food. They were cruel observations about the waitress herself. He mocked her uniform, guessed she had never attended university, joked that people like her existed only to serve people like him, and even suggested asking for impossible modifications simply to watch her struggle. His companions laughed harder with every sentence, certain their private conversation was completely safe. Marin listened quietly without changing her expression. She carefully wrote imaginary notes on her pad while allowing every hurtful word to settle inside her heart. The room seemed smaller, the laughter louder, yet she refused to let tears appear. Years of hardship had taught her that dignity often speaks loudest through silence. When Alastair finally finished, he looked at her with the satisfied smile of someone convinced he had won an invisible game. Then something extraordinary happened. In the same elegant Hungarian he had used to humiliate her, Marin politely repeated every complicated food request perfectly, corrected 2 small grammatical mistakes he had accidentally made, and gently recommended a regional wine that paired beautifully with his chosen meal. Her pronunciation carried the unmistakable confidence of someone who had studied not only the language but its history and culture. She even wished everyone an enjoyable evening using a traditional phrase rarely spoken outside Hungary itself. The laughter disappeared instantly. One guest nearly dropped his glass. Another stared at Marin with complete disbelief. Alastair's confident smile slowly faded as the meaning of her flawless response settled over the table. The woman he had dismissed as uneducated had understood every cruel word. Yet she had not insulted him. She had not embarrassed him. She had simply chosen grace. As the evening continued, something inside Alastair refused to let the moment go. He watched Marin serving every table with the same patience she had shown him. She smiled at elderly couples, comforted a nervous young boy celebrating his birthday, and quietly paid for dessert when she noticed a struggling family counting coins. No cameras captured her kindness. She expected nothing in return. Curiosity eventually overcame pride. After learning more from the restaurant manager, Alastair discovered the truth about her life. He learned about the grandmother whose eyesight depended on expensive treatment. He discovered Marin had graduated at the top of her language program before abandoning her career to care for family. He found certificates proving she had once received international academic honors. Everything he had assumed about her had been completely wrong. For the first time in many years, success no longer made him feel powerful. It made him feel ashamed. Before leaving, Alistair quietly handed the manager an envelope with a handwritten letter inside. It contained a full university sponsorship allowing Marin to complete her interrupted education, complete medical funding for her grandmother's treatment, and an offer to lead international communications for one of his charitable foundations whenever she felt ready. There were no reporters waiting outside and no publicity planned. The only sentence written beneath his signature read, "Thank you for teaching me that education creates wisdom, but kindness reveals character." Months later, Belmont House celebrated as Marin walked through its doors one last time wearing graduation robes instead of a waitress's uniform. Her grandmother stood proudly beside her, able to see clearly again after successful treatment. The staff applauded with tears in their eyes, knowing they had witnessed a miracle created not by wealth, but by humility. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who believes kindness can change lives, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more inspiring stories. Before you go, please leave one special comment below. Kindness always speaks louder. We'd love to see our community fill the comments with hope. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't proving someone wrong. Sometimes it's refusing to become like the person who tried to break you. A gentle heart, quiet dignity, and unexpected compassion can silence pride more completely than anger ever could, and that is a lesson far more valuable than any fortune in the world.